Let's get started. Good morning, ladies. How's everybody doing today? You literally have 2 days left to finish your first ever, some of you, most of you, first ever 9-day deep detox. And just take a moment today, if you haven't during this journey at all, if you haven't taken a moment in the middle of the food prep and the overwhelm at the beginning and the fatigue and the detox symptoms, if you haven't actually taken a moment to take that all in and to remind yourself of what an incredible challenge you have nearly completed. You're nearly completing. If you haven't celebrated yourself for doing this, I want you to take a moment today to do that. You're there. You're at the finish line. And as women, we don't celebrate ourselves nearly as much as we need to. We'll finish something like this and it's like, oh yeah, I did a program with Dana. You are healing yourself. You are doing something amazing. We're so quick to congratulate and celebrate other people when they do things that probably, maybe even a lot easier than this. But when it comes to prioritizing ourselves, number one, taking care of ourselves, actually following through, and then finishing, coming out at the other side, where's the celebration, right? Where's the party? Where's the, oh my God, I've done it. So I want you to take a moment today and tomorrow, and definitely at the end of Friday, to really, really celebrate yourself and consider, maybe you want to get yourself something nice. Like, don't celebrate with food, right? That's another cycle we want to slowly get yourself out of. That's not to say you can't celebrate with food. But for this particular celebration, I want you to think of how you can celebrate yourself in a different way. Maybe you take yourself out for a massage. Maybe you allow yourself 2 hours at home without the kids where you just get to sleep and just have free time. Whatever it is you always feel like it's something you feel like doing, but you don't let yourself do, that can be the way that you celebrate your success. You can start celebrating today. Why not? Today, tomorrow, and Friday. All right. I hope everybody's doing amazing. Today, I asked you please to bring with you a pen and paper. We are going to do an exercise called the thought model. I didn't make this up. It is something I learned from my mindset coaches. And a thought model is something that is an exercise, literally, pen to paper, mental exercise that you do when you are persistently coming up with a result in your life. Maybe in your health specifically, your relationships, at work, you're continuously coming up with a result in your life that's not the result that you want. Like, it's not the result that's moving you forward in that area of your life. And the thing that none of us ever learn is that we have something like 60 to 80,000 thoughts that go through our head every single day. Every single day. And we're just not aware of them. We're not conscious of them. There's no way you can, if I asked you to, would you remember the 60 to 80,000 thoughts that you've had yesterday? But they're there. And what makes it really challenging is that part of it, we're not aware of what those thoughts are. There's so many, but then the ones that you are aware of, you take as truth. You believe them as truth. Like, if it's running through my head, if I'm thinking it, then it must be true. So anytime there's a thought in your head, like, I'm overwhelmed, that's a simple thought. You believe it. Or this is too difficult. You believe it. Or, my friend turned out to be horrible and nasty and not trustworthy. It's a thought. Every single thought you have, they're just thoughts. They're not true. They're simply how you are reacting in that moment to a situation. Or we talked about the critter brain, or it's the critter brain trying to sabotage you. So you believe it. There isn't a single thought that goes through your head that is the actual truth. As much as you want to believe it, as much as you want to affirm it for yourself, because when you affirm it, then it's just like you're confirming why everything is not working out for you, for example, right? You're affirming why someone is horrible, but none of it is true. And we know that it's not true because we can change it. We can change any thought around any situation. So if it was the truth, you wouldn't be able to change it. And if it was the truth, then everybody would have the same thought around a particular situation, but everybody has different thoughts. So that's how we know it's not actually true. So what we want to do, and I'll walk you through this so you can understand, take out a pen and a piece of paper, and I want you to draw a line down the middle. Can you all see? A line down the middle, right? Thought model at the top. And then on the left-hand side, you're going to write C, T, F, A/I, and R, and then repeat the same thing on the other side. So this is how this works. You do the exercise the first time using whatever current thought is in your head. I'm going to give you a thought. We're going to go through it. Once you do that, we do it again and try and find a different thought to replace the thought from here that's going to give you a different result. All right, let me just tell you what each one of these things stands for. So C stands for circumstance. If you want to write out circumstance, as you do this for the first few times, it might be easier for you. C stands for circumstance. T stands for thought. F stands for feeling. A/I is action or inaction. And R is result. And same thing on this side. So circumstance, thought, feeling, action or inaction, and result. So what is a circumstance? The circumstance is a thing that is non-changeable. This is the part that's you have no control over, right? So our circumstance is a person, could be your husband, could be your mother, could be your boss, could be your kids. You have something going on with them, you have an argument with them. You can't change a person. You can't change how they think, you can't change how they behave, you can't change how they live their life, you can't change their habits, you can't change anything. And this is really, really important to know, because everybody's always trying to change everybody, where everybody thinks they can change everybody. You can like talk them into things, they can, be an example for them to follow, and people might change, but it's not because you made them change. If you see a change in anybody, it's because they decided to change. You might have triggered them to think differently and behave differently to change, but ultimately you can't make anybody change as much as we want to. You cannot make anybody change. So circumstance can be a person. Circumstance can also be an event. It can be a situation in your life. It can be news. It can be events, but it's non-changeable. It's not in your power to change the circumstance 99.9% of the time. All right. The thought then is whatever it is you're thinking about this circumstance. If let's take a spouse, right? So if the circumstance is my husband, your thought about him could be, he's not supportive, for example, right? You can't change your husband in theory. You don't want to change your husband. And you're thinking he's not supportive. What kind of a feeling comes up for you when you think my husband is not supportive? And anybody can just volunteer. This is a completely hypothetical situation, right? If you're thinking my spouse is not supportive, what's the feeling that accompanies that thought? Anybody throw out a feeling?
Depressed.
Depressed. So that would go in the feeling line. So the circumstance is husband. The thought you're having is, I'm not supported. He's not supporting me. The feeling that accompanies that is, I'm depressed. So what do you think you're going to do, or how do you think you're going to behave with your husband when the feeling is, I'm not supported and I'm depressed? Are you going to say nice things to him, or are you going to ignore him? What do you think you're going to do?
Ignore.
Ignore. So then what's the end result? Do you end up with a relationship that fulfills you? Do you end up with a relationship that is progressing? Do you end up with a relationship that then starts to fall apart? Do you end up with a relationship that is frustrating? Like, what do you think the result of you thinking my husband is not supportive, I'm depressed, I'm not going to say nice things to him, and then
disappointing relationship?
You end up with a disappointing relationship. And is that what you want?
No, of course not.
I'm not like singling anybody out, right? So all of us who are in relationships, married or in relationships, you want a fulfilling relationship, right? We all do. So this is where you would go to the next side, but this is your current thought, and there's nothing wrong with your current thought. but it's not giving you the results you want in your life. It's not giving you that thought, which is not true, by the way. It's just your thought. It's giving you a feeling, which is leading to an action, which is giving you a result, which is not the result that you want. You want a fulfilling relationship. So then you go to the next column, and we're going to do the exercise again. Circumstance never changes. The circumstance is still husband, all right? But we're going to work it backwards. So with your husband, you don't want a not fulfilling relationship. What do you want? I'm guessing a fulfilling relationship. So we start backwards. You write down a fulfilling relationship, and we're going to work backwards. If you want a fulfilling relationship, we're going to look at the action line now. What do you think you have to do in order to have a fulfilling relationship?
Use kind words.
Well, you just one-liners only. Don't complicate it by making like be kind, say kind. One thing, use kind words. Amazing. In order for you to use kind words, what's the feeling you have to have towards your husband? Because if you're feeling depressed, you're not going to use kind words. That's just not realistic. It's not going to happen. So in order for you to use kind words, what's the feeling that you have to have first?
Understanding.
So compassion, maybe? Empathy? Yes?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So then what would be the thought that's going to lead you to feel understanding and empathetic towards your husband?
He doesn't have the knowledge to مثلا
we can say maybe he doesn't have communication skills, for example. He doesn't yet have the best communication skills, for example, right? For example, or you can give me another example. In order for you to feel understanding for your husband, what's the thought that has to come first?
He's very stressed from work.
He's very stressed from work. Excellent, right? So the husband, very stressed from work, you feel understanding, compassion / empathy. You use kind words. The relationship doesn't fall apart. You end up having a fulfilling relationship instead. Do you see how that works? Still your husband.
Yes.
Still your husband. He's still doing things that are annoying, right? He's still, maybe not giving you attention. He's not there. He's really busy at work. He's got a million things on his mind. But instead of you thinking, I'm not supported, you think he's stressed. And automatically you go from being depressed to feeling empathetic, to I don't want to talk to him, to I want to use kind words, to relationships slowly breaking apart, to having a fulfilling relationship. Do you guys see how that works? You get to choose the thought. Your thoughts, the circumstance never changes. And it's not about changing the circumstance. What you're going to do is pinpoint the thought that then has the domino effect that ends up with a result that's not serving you. So then you go and you catch the thought, like I've been doing with you guys, you catch that thought and you're like, right, what's a better thought? Because that first thought is not true. He's not supportive. I mean, it could be true. Maybe it's true, but it's also just as possible that it's not true. But regardless, it's not working. So this is how we can literally control and shape our lives every single day. Instead of going down a rabbit hole of a thought that you insist is the only thought, at least, right? You have options. You have ways to train your brain. So you went from being depressed to being understanding. And that's a completely different energy. Does anybody want? Go ahead.
Can we use it on thoughts about food?
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Whoever wants to do another example, let's do it. The easiest way to learn this is to do a lot of examples. So go ahead. What would the circumstance would be here? What, Maha? The detox program or food or what?
I caught myself yesterday thinking about I always pick the fruits which are about to rot, and I eat them first. And then I listened to your Zoom. you're saying I have to pick healthy food that is growing, that has a lot of energy, that will give me this energy.
Hmm.
How am I picking those yani, apples that has this little piece that is not so good? I don't want to do this, but I can't change the thought that
Okay,
darling,
well,
rot.
okay, this might not be the best example. I'll tell you why. Because actually, fruits, the more ripe a fruit is, the better it is for you. So you're actually doing something great.
Okay.
So there's
طب
nothing
الحمد
wrong.
لله.
Yeah. It's like a really, really ripe banana. Like it's going brown. That's very much better for you than a banana that's not. Any fruit that is more ripe it doesn't mean it's bad fruit. On the contrary. So actually, keep doing that. Like this is something we need to change. Like keep doing that. Okay. And definitely, yeah, definitely if you have like a bunch of apples at home, right? And you have some that are starting to ripe, yes, they're good to eat when they're ripe, but it also means pretty soon you won't be able to eat them if they ripen too much and if they start to rot. But that's just common sense to use those first, right? Before using the ones that are not quite ripening yet and have more time. So let's pick another example, Maha, all right?
Okay.
There's nothing wrong there. Anybody, Maha, if you have another example, we can go with yours, or if somebody has one you want to use, raise your hand and I can use that as an example.
I always also try to eat the rest of my kids' food. This sandwich that
Okay, that's a good one, right? We always want to eat our kids' leftovers, and that's not a good thing, right? Because especially if their leftovers are, it's not, it's like rice or pasta or something, right? That's something that you're not currently eating. So what would the circumstance be here? Eating my kids' leftovers, all right? That's the circumstance, my kids' leftover food. It is a thing, it's there. They have leftover food, it exists. So what's your thought when you see leftover food on your kids' plates?
حرام هيترمي.
So your thought is, so this is not haram haytremi, and that makes you feel what?
Sorry, يعني I feel sorry that this food يعني will be thrown off.
Can we say guilty?
Guilty, yes.
Okay, so what are you gonna do when you feel guilty? You see this food and you feel guilty. What are you gonna do?
Eat it.
You're gonna eat it. And then what's gonna happen as a result?
I'll get off my detox program. I'll get overweight. I won't feel that good afterwards.
All right, all the things, all the things. So let's flip it. Circumstance is still all the leftovers, okay? Same thing, same plates in front of you. One thought is haram. Haram, this food goes to waste. What's a better thought for you?
I pick what I eat.
Okay, let's go with that. I pick, so basically I choose what I eat, okay? So what's the feeling that gives you?
It's a thought also, not a feeling. I'm important, that I'm
I need a feeling. Either choose I'm important here as a thought, or I choose what I eat. But a feeling is not a thought. You need a feeling here.
Empowered.
Yes.
Does that make you feel empowered, Maha?
Yes, of course.
So which thought do you want to put here? I'm important.
I'm important. The food that goes to my stomach is very important. It's
Don't confuse the thoughts. Choose one,
yes.
one clear thought only that you want to use.
I pick what I eat. I pick what I eat.
I pick what I eat, and that makes you feel empowered.
Yes.
Okay, so then what are you going to do when you feel empowered and I pick what I eat versus haram, this food here, and I feel guilty? What's going to happen?
I'll find a way to use this food.
Excellent.
Maybe birds.
Exactly.
maybe someone else, I can keep telling my kids that if they have sandwiches with them, they can share with their friends.
So you don't throw it away, and you find a better use for this food than putting it in your stomach, because you choose what goes in your stomach. You're not going to be guilted into eating something anymore. So then
Yes.
the end result is what?
End result is sticking to the program, getting better health, feeling empowered. So I do more things at home.
There it is. Perfect. Get it? All right. Let me see. I have one here. Yasmin. I need coffee to kickstart my day. Okay, so I'm sure everybody can relate to this one. So the circumstance is going to be coffee. Everybody relates to this one. Coffee, coffee. So the thought that Yasmin has right now is, I need coffee to kickstart my day. Very legitimate thought. That's not true, but legitimate. What's the feeling that that gives you, Yasmin?
I guess it makes me feel dependent.
Dependent?
Makes me
Is that what you said?
maybe weak.
Weak?
Yes,
Okay.
dependent. Yeah.
Okay, let's use dependent. So coffee, I need it to kickstart my day. It makes me feel dependent. So then what do you do when you feel dependent?
I think I try to regulate my consumption, so I limit it.
Okay. And then what's the result that you get from that?
I'm drinking less cups of coffee than I want to, probably.
Less than what you want to. Okay, so let's turn it around. What's the result that you actually want?
To probably drink coffee for pleasure, or
Okay. So not be dependent. You want to be able to drink it for pleasure.
exactly.
Exactly. Okay.
Yes.
So in order for you to still same, coffee is a circumstance. The result is I want to drink it for pleasure. So what do you think the action is going to be if you're just drinking for pleasure? What's the action that's going to lead to that going to be?
I think probably that I'll have to drink coffee when it's a choice, not a habit. I'll have to be purposeful about the times that I am buying a cup of coffee, that it's actually intentional. It's not a need necessarily. That's part of my day.
Perfect. So you're being intentional about when you choose to have your coffee. So what's the feeling that you're going to have in order for you to follow through with this action? Like, what's the feeling that comes before you being only intentional about buying your coffee?
Can I say control? I mean, that's not a feeling, but maybe I will feel like I'm in control, probably.
Okay.
Maybe I'll also feel
well, let's
stronger.
not go too far. You said dependent here. How about independent here?
Independent. Okay, sure, definitely. Yeah.
You? Okay. So if you're independent here, then what's the thought you're having about coffee? First, remember, this thought was, I need coffee to kickstart my day. That made you feel dependent. You want to feel independent. So what's the thought you're going to have instead of, I need coffee to kickstart my day?
I drink coffee when I want to, rather than I need to.
Exactly. Are you getting it, ladies? Just put a show of hands that you're understanding the basic concept of how this thing works, of how a thought model works. Okay. Perfect. Anybody else want to go through another? Are you complete with that, Yasmin? Does that make sense to you?
Yep, it does, definitely. Thanks, Dana.
Right. Who wants to go next? With a thought that's not serving you, or you're starting to understand now how there's a thought that's not serving you, or there's a result. We can start with a result. If there's a result you keep getting in your life, and this is not the result you want in your life, we can also work it that way. No one? Here's the thing with this, and you guys think about it for a little bit. What you want to do with this thought model is it's an exercise that you can literally do. Like when I first learned it, I was doing it. I had literally like a small like notepad with me, and you can literally do it at any point in the day, as you're raising your level of consciousness around this, right? And you're raising your level of consciousness as to you're not just this passive, receiver and just going along passively with whatever is going on in your brain. Nothing in your brain is serving you unless you are creating it specifically, intentionally to serve you. So when you do this exercise, I recommend at first you do it at least once a day in the morning, first thing, see what's coming out of your head. And then, like I said, I used to do it a few times during the day, just to learn to like catch my thoughts. Like if there's something I didn't feel like doing, or if you're procrastinating, right? A lot of times procrastination is just about your brain making you feel like you're incapable of doing something. You sit down, you write down the circumstance, and it doesn't, as you saw, it doesn't take more than 5 minutes. And it can completely change your energy, but it is something you have to do with pen and paper. There has to be a slowing down of you thinking and the connection between your mind and your hand to the paper. So please don't try to do it in your head. Let me go through CTFA. Don't, it's not gonna work. It needs to be written down, all right? So who's next? Who wants to try? Who wants to apply the thought model to something that's not working in their lives? Randa, procrastination, demotivation, laziness. Okay, Randa, do you want to give me a specific example?
Okay, so an example, a project I'm working on, I get very excited at the beginning and I put a lot of energy, and then when it's time to, for example, the project is like, I have to do 4 times. I have to do this project to repeat it 4 times. So I finish like twice. And then by the 3rd time, I don't
mean to interrupt you. Is this for work? It's your work?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So the circumstances work, right? Work.
Okay.
Like it's work. Unless you decide to quit, or I think you have your own business, right? So
yes.
Unless you decide to quit, or you're like, I'm selling my business, I'm not doing it anymore, it's there. It's not going anywhere, right? So the circumstance is work. So what's the first thought you have about work?
Which part, when the first time when I'm motivated or when I'm not motivated?
No, let's hear about when you're not motivated.
I'm just lazy. I'm just lazy. I'm like, oh, I still have to set up this and do that, and
okay,
it's just this.
So the thought is, okay, it's work, and the thought is, oh, I still have to do all of this work. Masala.
Okay.
Right? And then the feeling is lazy.
Yes.
Right? So then what happens?
I postpone it until there's like a deadline, and I like have to do it all in one day.
And then
so I get squeezed.
Okay. So what's the result then?
I end up doing it in a rush, stressed, and not enjoying it as much. I actually enjoy it, but the pleasure is much less.
So it's your work. You always get it done. So you never drop the ball. It ends up getting done, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that's not our issue. You get it done. So the question here is though, how you want to get it done, right?
Yes.
Okay. So circumstances work. Oh my God, I don't feel like doing it. I'm feeling lazy. Procrastinate, leave it till the last minute, and then it gets done. But the result is what with you? You're burned out, you don't feel excited. Like what's the end result with you as your role in this work and this company?
Well, actually, because I squeeze it and I end up doing it putting it all in a day or 2. So that's why the next time I think about doing it, I think about all the squeeze, all the stress. So so the result is it actually makes me thinking about the laziness.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's like I enjoy it, and this is something I like to do, but at the end, because of this laziness and tightness and time, it defies the purpose.
So it becomes more of a burden than an enjoyment?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so let's flip it around.
Resulted being burned.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, no, sorry, I got disconnected. I didn't hear you there.
No, okay, so let's flip it. So it's still your work, your job.
Mhm.
What's the result you want to have? But this is something, like you said, it happens, it's a cycle, it goes in cycles, something you're going to be doing over and over and over again. So you've done it where you end up feeling like it's a burden. It gets done. So we're not talking about actually completing it. It gets completed, but
Yes.
I feel like it's a burden. What would you prefer that the end result be?
To enjoy what I'm doing,
Okay.
yes, to have it all, you know, and what can I say? Well, I actually enjoy it, so I don't want to deprive myself of this.
Okay, so you
So
want
the result is fulfilling.
okay, fulfill. You want it, so that's a feeling, but let's think about the result in terms of you want it to be completed without being a burden. So like, what does that actually look like to you?
Actually done better.
The quality done better, so it gets done, but you feel it could be done better?
Yes, maybe, definitely. I mean, yes, better.
Okay.
I'll write it better.
Okay, done better, completed at a higher quality. Let's put it that way. Okay.
Yes.
Still your work up here. So then what's the thought you have to have?
The thought is, I like doing this. Or this is what I want to do.
Okay. And then what feeling does that give you?
Fulfillment.
Okay. I want you to think about this. When you think about, you say something, this is what I want to do, or this is what I like to do. Like is different than love, for example, right? So I want you to think hard about the feeling and the thought here. Let's leave the thought out. Let's start with the feeling, because you talk more about your feelings than your thoughts. So what is the feeling that needs to get you to not procrastinate on this? What is the feeling that you need to have? Let's say your next project is due in exactly 30 days. What's the feeling you want to have today that's going to have you working on this today and working on it steadily for the next 3 days?
To prevent, you mean, the laziness and procrastination?
Prevent you feeling like it's a burden.
Okay. The thought.
Give me the feeling. Give me your feeling.
The feeling.
Yeah, give
okay.
me, what's the feeling you have to wake up with every day that is going to get you to get to your office and get to work on this project and not push it off and keep pushing it off? What's the feeling you have to have?
I would say enjoyment and happy.
Okay, so you want to be excited?
Excited, yes.
Excited. So when you're excited versus lazy, right? When you're excited, what are you going to do?
I'll have more energy and I'll approach it differently, completely.
So what are you going to actually do when you're excited?
So it's different. I'm gonna do it differently.
Okay, give me one example of the way it was done here versus the way you would do it here.
Dispersed, for example. I'll do mini tasks, not everything at once.
Okay, so you're going to space it out. You're going to give yourself time. Okay, you're going to allow yourself time. When you're excited, you're going to allow yourself time to create a better product, right?
Yes.
And if what I'm saying doesn't resonate with you, just tell me, right? Because I'm just thinking aloud with you. So if I'm trying to understand what you're saying, but it's not really what you're thinking or feeling, let me know, because then you want to make sure that this comes out right for you. So the feeling is excited. The action is deliberate action. Like you're doing it now, not rushed, not in a hurry, not under pressure. It's more deliberate action, right?
Okay.
And that's going to give you a higher quality product.
Yes.
Okay. So then what's the thought that's going to, when you think it, you get excited?
I don't know. I have to think about that.
This is when you're doing this, and here's the thing, you can keep doing this over and over and over again until they all line up. They all need to line up, right? So like if you told me here, I like what I do, you're not really going to be excited when you like what you do, right? Not really.
Yes.
So this is why you, as you do it, you want to make sure that it's in alignment and each thing it actually flows, right? Like when I feel independent, then I'm going to make sure that I'm going to make the better choice for these leftover foods. I'm not going to put these foods in my stomach. They match. Let's put it that way, right? The feeling matches the thought. So if you want to feel excited, so you can take deliberate and not rushed action to complete this project, think about what does that thought have to be? And you don't have to, if you can't think about it now, that's okay. You can think about it and you can share it with us if you want to share it with me, or you can share it on the group. But that's how it works. And you can literally have one of these thought models for, like, for example, you said that you have many different things to do in your work, right? You could actually do one of these for every single project that's different, for example. Or if you have different tasks in your work or different responsibilities, you can do a thought model for every single one. Because like I said, 60 to 80,000 thoughts in our head. Obviously, we're going to do the maximum you're ever going to do with this per day, if you really, really get into it, is maybe like 10 thought models a day. If you really get into it and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to catch every single thought. Ideally, you want to do at least once a day, something that, like, it's a cycle. You keep getting the same result with something over and over and over and over. Like that's what you want to focus on, right? It's like when you continuously go on a diet and then do the diet and then you're done with it and then you see results and then you backtrack and then you pick another diet and you do the diet and you go through the diet and you see results and then you finish and then you backtrack. That's clearly something that starts with a thought that's not serving you. You're following the thought, you're following the feeling that goes with the thought, and you're getting a result that's just it's not right. Like, that's not what I want. I want to be done with dieting, for example. I don't want to think about dieting again. I want to figure it out and then be done with the cycle of yo-yo dieting, for example. Okay. I want to be done with thinking my husband doesn't support me. I want to be done with having all these thoughts that don't serve my relationship. You get to choose a different thought, and it changes your energy completely, because any change, ladies, any change, like I said, cannot change people around you. You cannot change situations. You cannot change world events. The only thing you can change is your perception of it, how you react to it, and then the domino effect of that on your life. That's it. We all believe, especially well, let me put it this way, as humans, right? We all do this. We all have sort of files in our head, and nobody's really aware of it, but we all do. We have these files in our head, one file for every single person that you know in your life. Your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your husband, your kids, your friends, your file for all the people in your life. And in each file, you have very clear instructions for how this person is supposed to treat you, how this person is supposed to speak to you, and how this person is supposed to react when you are feeling sad, or how this person is supposed to react when you're angry, or how this person is supposed to help you or not help you, or the boundaries you have for this person, which is great. You're allowed to do that. But here's the thing. All these people for whom you're keeping files in your head, they have no idea that you have all these files in your head, right? None of them. And you don't know, now you know, that they have files for you. They have expectations also for you. And we don't share the files, usually. We believe everybody should be mind readers and everybody should understand. Well, when I'm upset, this is how he should treat me. When I'm tired, everybody needs to just stay back and let me rest. Okay, I mean, that's what you've decided, but have you explained this to people? No, you haven't. And then here's the catch with this, though. You can explain it to them. You can tell them, by the way, here's the file I have for you in my head. And according to my file, this is how you need to treat me. They don't have to agree. It's called free will, right? Of course, when there's, relationships and you have to work on things, it's not quite black and white, but at the end of the day, You, at the end of the day, you can't control how somebody decides they're going to behave. So you get to choose whether somebody is going to make you upset or angry or sad or depressed or bored. Nobody makes you any of those things. Nobody makes you. You're the one who decides when faced with a situation. You decide quickly. You go through, I'm like, am I going to be sad? Am I going to be depressed? Am I going to be angry? I'm going to ignore it. You're the one who decides. So all the responsibility is yours. Like the same way you're the only one taking care of your physical health, right? Nobody in any of your homes is coming to you and saying, Angie, it's really important that you have this smoothie right now. I'm going to sit right here and I'm going to make this smoothie for you. And I'm going to hold the smoothie for you. Make sure you drink every last sip. We do that with our kids when they're babies. And even that ends, right? Nobody's coming and telling you how you should take care of yourself physically. And nobody's going to come and tell you how you're supposed to take care of yourself emotionally and mentally. It's 100% your responsibility to bring yourself to this level of awareness that it's all the change starts with you. All of it. And this is one of the ways to do it. Because we always, well, how do I change? How do I change what I thought? Or I've been thinking this all my life. Or this is what I believe. It's what you believe because you decided this is what you believe. Or somebody told you this is the truth and don't question the truth. You need to understand that your brain is just thoughts, just random thoughts that are just running amok. That's it. Random thoughts based on like past experiences, based on like, you know, things you've confirmed for yourself before. You've decided they're truth, but they're not. So every single thought you have from now on, and this is not something that it's not a process that you just perfect and you decide, okay, I'm going to catch my thoughts and I'm good from now on. It's an ongoing process because you have a critter brain that's always going to try and take you down a rabbit hole. Not just because you learned a thought model today means you're never going to be faced with a thought that's not serving you from now on. It's ongoing, especially as you grow and evolve, especially as this process, what happens with the food, it's not just about the food. You're going to change yourself physically, but you're also going to start to see a different version of yourself, completely different version of yourself when you've cleared the brain fog, when your energy is back and you feel brand new again, you're going to see a brand new version of yourself. And that's going to require a brand new way of processing your thoughts and understanding your feelings and making sure you get the results that you want. And it starts, believe it or not, with a very simple exercise like this. Critter brain first. We've established that you know what the critter brain can do, but then it's up to you. It's up to you to do it. 5 minutes a day is all it can take to completely change and get you a result that you haven't been able to get before in your life. All right. Let me just check here, Q&A. Maha, what's CBT? I'm really bad with all these acronyms. The other day, somebody asked me if my program is good for PBD. And I was like, I've never heard of PBD in my life. And she's like, plant-based diet. I'm like, oh, that's something I should know, but I'm really bad with the acronyms. So let me know what that stands for.
Okay. It's cognitive behavioral therapy.
I don't know if that's what it is exactly. This is more in the realm of understanding sort of, believe it or not, sort of quantum physics and sort of creating the future that you want, creating the thing that you want. So I think it's a little bit different. Maha, this is life-changing. It's the first time I come. Yeah, I mean, it was the first time for me to come across it three years ago also. It's mind-blowing the extent to which we unknowingly, right? And it's none of anybody's fault that we didn't know this before, but it's mind-blowing the extent to which we just allow ourselves to be just like led by our thoughts and just accepting that if it's in my head, then it's true, right? No. If it's in your head, it means you need to stop and think about it and figure out if it's actually true for you. It might still be true. You might want to keep the thought, but you want to go through the exercise of figuring out if it really is the thought that works for you and is giving you the best results in your life or not. All right. Anybody else have a question or anybody else want to go for one quick example? In all cases, what I want everybody to do is at least do one so that I can make sure you're doing it correctly. Do one and share it on the group, or if it's something very private, you're not comfortable sharing it on the group, share it with me privately. Do at least one thought model exercise. So that I can tweak it. If you're doing it right, great. If you're not, I can have a back and forth with you and show you what needs to be adjusted and why. Then you can just, totally be let loose and enjoy this and benefit from this exercise whenever you need to. All right. Okay, ladies, thank you. Tomorrow we have our last video for this week. Be ready for Friday. I mean, right now it's smooth sailing. Be ready for Friday because that's going to take everything a notch up again. Your cleansing experience, your detox withdrawal symptoms is just it's another level. Like we got a little bit comfortable in the first 3 days and then we went up a little bit in the last 5 days. Now we're going to do that again. So like I said, stay at home, please, as much as you can. Honor the experience. It's just juicing the whole day. If you want to have an apple at the end of the day, you can as per the plan, but it's just liquids and juicing the whole day. And if you haven't yet, and most of you haven't, let me know what you're planning on doing next. What's your plan for Saturday? Once you're done with the 9 days, you're done with day 13. Are you planning on repeating? Are you planning on doing clean eating? Are you planning on doing the hybrid cleanse? All right, let me know on the group, please. All right, ladies, lovely as always. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you all tomorrow, same time, same place. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Anna. Bye.
Bye.